Welcome to Mental Health Monday. I am so excited to be here with you all. We have a very short Mental Health Monday, but certainly it is going to be a useful Mental Health Monday. We have all survived the holidays. Hopefully, time, even if it's simply memories, going down memory lane to just appreciate what God has done for us and the many blessings that He's given us. And nonetheless, in spite of all the blessings and the wondrous things that God has done, some of us have done quite a bit of overindulgence. I'll put it like that. And so you all see this beautiful plate of food in front of me. Yes, it is vegan food. And as you see this plate, it is very full. As far as the portions are concerned, it is overly portioned, and it's something that was meant to be satisfying and something that was meant to provide nourishment. But if I'm not careful, I will attempt to eat everything on this plate. And what was attempted to provide nourishment and what was attempted to be satisfying can instead be harmful to me. And my history certainly proves that. There's something that about holidays that it just simply makes you want to eat. It's something about getting into the mood of holidays that it makes you want to eat. And so again, as we exit the one holiday and we're preparing for Christmas, we're preparing for the new year, we're going to discuss one of the most unhealthy habits that many of us have been taught as children. And that unhealthy habit that we've been taught as children is simply this: eat everything on your plate. And most of my, I heard growing up was, you ain't getting it from this table till you eat everything on your plate. And so I used to literally hide food behind the refrigerator so that I would not have to eat it. It was too much, or it was something that I simply was repulsed by. And my mom still wanted me to eat it. So I put it behind the refrigerator so that I would not have to eat it. When I say behind the refrigerator, I mean literally behind the refrigerator, because those words, eat everything on your plate, was such a command that I wanted to make sure that I didn't get in trouble for not eating everything that's on my plate. Now, this was something that was very important, y'all. A generation ago, post depression children were taught eat everything on your plate, but they weren't taught that because of eating in excess. They were taught that because they needed to survive. Consumption was necessary to survive. They didn't have a lot, so the little bit that they did have to eat, it was important that they ate everything on their plate. Now, no longer are we in danger of eating too little. Now we're in danger of eating way too much. Did you know that it takes about 20 minutes for your brain to send a signal to the stomach to let you know that you're full? And so the definition of overeating occurs when you continue to eat beyond this point of fullness. And I know I cannot be the only one where it tastes so good, you just want to finish it, and so you push past that fullness that you feel, and therefore you end up overeating. And as part of our culture, Americans are known to overportion our plates, and we overportion it not just within our homes. Go to fast food restaurants and everything's so cheap you want two instead of one. You go to restaurants and plates are full. And because of this, many of us have practiced overeating for so long that it seems natural. Even our stomachs have accommodated us by stretching to accommodate that overeating. And so overeating is a huge part of the holiday. It's a perfect excuse. It's the holiday. And because it's the holiday, we pull out all the stops. But then again, there are other holidays after this one. And when there's no holiday to overindulge, there are personal celebrations to overindulge. And when there are no personal celebrations to overindulge, there are personal losses that cause us to want to overindulge. And when there are no holidays, no personal celebrations, no personal losses, there's boredom. I'm bored and so I'm eating. And when there's no boredom, there's simply the weekend. And when there's no weekend, there are hard Mondays and tough Tuesdays and wild Wednesdays and so on. We always have an excuse when it comes to overindulging. And so therefore we keep so much on our plates. And even when our eyes are bigger than our stomachs, we resolve to eat it all. And again, maybe we can hear our parents saying, eat everything on your plate. I'm not playing with you. You better eat all that. So we eat beyond our appetite. We eat beyond the normalcy of our stomachs. And it's more than that. Because what's on our plates are generally unhealthy. We're eating and feeding our bodies disease-causing foods. We got butter, we got salt, we got high carbs, we got low fiber, we got high in cholesterol, saturated fats, processed foods, God forbid, fried foods, those sugary foods. So not only am I encouraged to eat beyond my normal capacity by eating everything on my plate, I'm encouraged to feed my body these disease-causing foods. There's a research study that was done by Cornell University that says the average adult consumes 92% of everything that's put on that plate. 92%. That means that the majority of what goes on our plates is what goes in our mouths. Now, I said all that not to talk about the food, even though it is very important that we take care of our physical health, because our physical health is very much connected to our mental health. I said that so that we could take a look at our mental health. So again, over Thanksgiving break, those of us who overindulged were what? Exhausted. We went into straight food comas. We were tired. I guess I'll just talk about me. You know, when we in church, we don't like to step on too many toes. So let me just step on my own toes. I was tired because I overindulged and all I wanted to do was sleep. Because eating too much will leave you exhausted. Now, again, mental health. Baby, I know you want to do it all for everybody and be it all for everybody, but doing too much will leave you exhausted. It will leave you tired, worn out, burnt out, and ready to fall out. You got a plate full of stuff like it's a plate full of food. You got a plate full of ventures like this is a plate full of food. You got a plate full of people asking you for this and asking you to do that and asking you to go there. And it becomes a plate full of food. And so you've got to make a decision in regard to what it is that you're going to consume and what it is that you're going to put to the side. Working all days, all hours of the day, working all hours of the night, trying to do every single task and every single project that you're asked to do. It is not suitable for anyone. Even Jesus said his 12 disciples, and beyond the 12 disciples, there were hundreds. It's not suitable for one person to do everything. It will make you sick. And so this plate right here, it looks a whole lot like our lives, doesn't it? It's full. Do this. Go there. Be that. I need this. And the danger of trying to eat all this for me would be heartburn. The danger of trying to do all that and be all that for everybody else is being burnt out and stressed out. There is such a real anxiety of that feeling of being overwhelmed when you want to do and be and go everywhere for everyone. There is anxiety in that. You simply can't fit as much as you want to. I hear you. You can't fit everything into one day. You can't fit everything into 24 hours. And why in the world anyway does someone else's negligence and somebody else's foolishness and somebody else's impulsivity become a crisis that has to land on your plate? During Thanksgiving, someone always, it never fails, tries to get me to eat cranberry sauce. Never fails. They always try to get me to eat cranberry sauce. I don't know what it is with folk eat cranberry sauce. They want to put it on your plate. And I ain't putting that mess on my plate looking like coagulated blood. Because somebody else wants you to eat what they chose for themselves. The decision they made for themselves, what they wanted to do for themselves, it does not mean that you have to partake in it as well. That was their choice and you got to make your choice. So you eat your coagulated blood and enjoy it or don't enjoy it, that's up to you. But I choose to not have that mess on my plate. I'll never forget one time I had literally, I felt like I'd bitten off more than I could chew. And I had so much in my plate, so much to do, so many things pulling for my attention, so many things that it seemed like it had to be done. And if I didn't get it done, it wasn't going to be done. And it's so much pulling on me. And so I began to pray. And I literally prayed this. This was my prayer to the Lord. I said, God, I've bitten off more than I can chew. My prayer to you is, please, give me a bigger mouth. And the Lord gave me grace for a specific time frame. But can I tell you what, boo? My prayer has changed drastically from that point. Why would I want a bigger mouth? No, God. Instead, give me the wisdom as to what I allow to be on my plate and what I don't allow to be on my plate. Now I no longer attempt to try to spit out any cranberry sauce. I ain't spitting that mess out for what? No. I simply refuse to allow anybody to put it on my plate. I will not partake of it. I will not be involved in it. That is your venture that you chose to do. That's your decision that you chose to make. That's on you. That was your unhealthy thing that you chose to partake in. I ain't got nothing to do with that. That is your personal crisis, your personal emergency. And I don't have to jump over every personal crisis, and you don't have to jump over every personal emergency to somebody else. That's not how this works. We've got to be careful of what we allow others to try to throw on there and sneak on there. You ever had something you didn't want to eat? Maybe you were little and you try to put something on your brother's plate or something on your sister's plate, or like me, put it behind the refrigerator. Baby, I'd rather you put that behind the refrigerator rather than try and put it on my plate because I got too much on me as it is. So not only are we affected physically, mentally, and yes, even spiritually, but when we try to do too many things, we spread ourselves too thin, and that means we end up not doing anything really well. We end up not doing anything to a point of excellence. And so if I'm speaking to you right now, if it's you, and we only got a couple of more minutes and I'm going to hit these points and we're going to get out of here. If it's you that I'm talking to, you don't need another time management class. That's not what you need. You need to do one or some of these three things. You need to throw some of the food away. You need to put some food in the refrigerator to go back to it next week, or put some stuff in the freezer to go to it next year. What am I saying? It ain't all necessary. I ain't got to eat everything on here. As a matter of fact, I don't even like everything on here. So why would I try to eat everything on here? So some of the stuff I just need to throw away. Other stuff, it is necessary, then I'm going to want to maybe pick up on it next week, and so I put that in the refrigerator. And other stuff, it is not an emergency. It's going to get dealt with, but it might be 6 months from now. It might even be next year. It's not something that I have to do absolutely this moment. And in the case that you're doing too much, it involves social media time, then make sure that if it's looking at too much social media, put that in the refrigerator. That ain't something you got to do right now. Enjoy the moment. Live in the moment. Be in the moment. All right? There's a such thing as too much even when it comes to social media. So here are a few things that you can do naturally, and then even in regard to your own life, all right? So we're going to talk about food, and we're going to relate this to our own lives. So one thing that we can do to make sure that we don't overeat is the obvious thing. Is to use a smaller plate. So if this plate is too big, if I know that with this plate I can get more on this plate, then instead, use a smaller plate. Because with a smaller plate, I have less opportunity to try to throw a whole bunch of stuff on top of there. Anybody that goes to BD Mongolian Grill, you know what I mean, and try to heap some stuff on there. So get your smaller plate. Now, what does that mean in regard to mental health? That means set boundaries. Set boundaries. Let your loved ones know this is not the plate you're going to sit. This small plate is what you're going to see. In other words, I'm willing to do this. This is the time that you're getting. This is the effort. This is the money. This is the energy. This is what you're getting. I'm willing to offer myself for this amount of time. And baby, don't feel guilty for it. You are a human being. And you have other things that you must do as well. All right? So let them know. No, I'm not showing you this big old plate as if I got a whole lot that you can put on here. You ain't going to fill all this up. I'll let you have this much, and I'm going to tell you how much you can put on here, all right? Another thing that you need to do is make sure, or we need to do, is make sure that we put our fork or our spoon down in between bites. It forces us to actually take time to chew our food rather than taking another bite before chewing the first bite. I'm guilty of that when it comes to any type of chips and salsa. I'm double-fisted. So put it down so that you have the time to chew between each bite. All right, so what does this mean? Give yourself an opportunity to rest between ventures. Allow yourself the opportunity to pat yourself on the back, to do some deep breaths, to do something relaxing, to do some self-care. That's putting your fork down. Allow yourself the opportunity to simply chew and relax and just be between those bites. Another thing that we make sure we can do in order to eat less physically is to remove any distractions. How many of y'all have ever been watching TV and you've been eating something while you're watching TV? Maybe it was pizza, I don't know, eating and watching TV. And you didn't even realize that you had eaten all that food. You didn't notice it because you were distracted. It's easy to overindulge when you're distracted by other things. And so in our own lives, we've got to make sure that we're paying attention to what we're doing, as well as the amount of time, the amount of energy, the amount of that we invest even financially into a thing. As a matter of fact, again, set time limits on those ventures. Set time limits on those activities. Another thing to make sure that we don't overindulge is sip water between bites. This will slow you down so that you can take time to eat, enjoy the meal, and feel full. All right? It takes about 30 minutes for the brain to catch up with the stomach. So sipping water in between will cause you to slow down. What does that mean in our regular everyday lives? Slow down, baby. I love NDRE's song. Slow down, baby. You're going too fast. You're going too fast. Slow down. You'll think better when you slow down. You'll make better decisions when you slow down. You'll problem solve better when you slow down. Give yourself the opportunity to feel full. Sometimes we're doing so much we don't even realize that we got too much going on. Is it just me? We got our hands in so many different things and we got so many hats on. We don't even realize, hey, I'm looking real crazy right now with all these hats on. Trying to do everything. So take a moment to slow down. Another thing that you can do is if you're at a restaurant, in order to not overindulge, is from the very get, tell the waiter, I'll have to go now and have to go later. From the very get. In our everyday lives, don't try to complete everything in one setting. Don't try to get it all done now. The urgency that we often feel is an urgency that we make up. Right? Whatever it was survived before you had to do it. It does not have to be done right this moment. The last thing that we can do is make sure that we write out a list of essentials. Essentials versus non-essentials. Essentials versus non-essentials. Put 5 things in the essentials and 5 things in the non-essentials. Everything that you thought you had to do that had to be done right now, organize it in a list of essential versus non-essential. And make sure that when you do that essential, you put some self-care in there. For me, that self-care would be time with my husband, because that's my peace. That's what brings me joy. That's what helps me relax. So that would go in my essential. And then there are some other things that perhaps I thought were essential, that when I look at it now, I realize, baby, that's a non-essential right there. All right? So these are things that we can do in regard to the plates that we often attempt to consume and to do so quickly and not even end up enjoying it as much, because we suffer later from the heartburn, from the tiredness, the fatigue, the all that stuff. Just want to sleep life away. We can have too much. And I'm speaking to my sisters and my brothers right now, and those who have a whole lot to do. Is it really a whole lot that you have to do? Are you the only one that can do it, Moses? Is it perhaps some other people that you can bring on your team? And if not, does it even really have to be done right now? Can it go in the trash? Can it go in the refrigerator? Can it go in the freezer? That's it. That's it. That's that's the whole life. I love you all. God bless you all. Thank you all for joining me tonight. And I will say to you what the Lord said to me. Don't worry about anything that God ain't worried about. And guess what? Our God ain't worried about nothing. I love you all. God bless you. Have an amazing night. Bye-bye.